It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and TanMan. All right, true believers, welcome into the border war. This is episode 115. We're going to get back onto our baseball discussion today. We'll be talking only ACC basketball and some tournament projections. There's no reason to talk SEC basketball. Baseball, sorry. The SEC baseball. The SEC baseball season has been canceled.
At least in one town it has.
At least in one town it has. You're right. And we also talk about the Atlanta Braves. Let me ask you, though, TanMan, real off-topic real quick, since I went with my True Believers lead-in. I'm assuming you are one of 12 people in the United States that has not seen the Avengers Endgame yet.
Nope.
Have no idea what it's about, do you?
Nope. But I did go on, last Sunday, where LaShawn McCoy was getting all the flack for tweeting out all the spoilers and the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I went out and pulled up his Twitter account and retweeted all that stuff that he spoiled the movie with.
I'm glad I didn't see that.
Yeah.
You know, there are people.
I did it actually with you in mind.
I figured when you started telling me that story. There are people that have been killed over that.
Apparently, they started like a petition to have LaShawn McCoy banned from football, and
I think that's a fairly good idea anyway. I mean, a guy whose actual real name is shady.
I don't, because there'll be some Yahoo in the Fantasy Football League that will take LaShawn McCoy in the first round, and I need that guy in the league, so I need LaShawn McCoy in the league.
Do you need Tyreek Hill in the league?
Well,
do you need Kareem Hunt in the league?
That's a sore spot. Don't start with Kareem Hunt. That's a sore spot.
That's why I did it. All right, so we'll start the ACC. Your Tar Heels, from all accounts, from what I can still see, slated in most projections in the tournament to be a number one seed, hosting in Chapel Hill. So why don't you catch us up on the standings as they are currently?
Well, as the season starts to wind down, you're talking, 2 more weekends worth of college baseball?
2 series, yeah.
In the Atlantic Division, Louisville leading the way, setting the pace in the whole ACC at 18-6, followed by Florida State, NC State, Clemson in a tie for 4th in the Atlantic with Wake Forest at 12-12. Over on the coastal side, North Carolina and Georgia Tech, both of these teams are slated to being projected to host at this point, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But they are tied atop the coastal division at 15-9, followed by Miami and Duke. So the Tar Heels, I think right now they will be the 3 seed in the upcoming ACC tournament.
That sounds about right.
So, really, for North Carolina, it's all about getting to the NCAA tournament, because we talked about it before the year. Look, it was kind of put up or shut up time with this bunch.
You mean get to Omaha?
Getting there,
yeah.
It was.
Well, with North Carolina right now, I think you want to angle in on that overall top seed. You want to make sure you're hosting the Super Regional as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you do need to take care of business and win that regional.
Yeah. Well, look, they started off well. They hit a little mid-season slump, but they've won 7 out of the last 8. The lone loss coming, getting drug at home against Virginia in the one game that they lost to the Cavaliers. So it looks like the Tar Heels have kind of started to turn things around a little bit. And,
they got off to a really slow start, and it took a long time for them to get sort of any traction.
But
the ACC has not been overall as strong as I think it was projected to be, which has obviously helped North Carolina also.
Yeah, now the last 2 conference series for North Carolina, they will get Pitt. Of course, Pitt's basically the worst team in the ACC.
Can you imagine
they'll close
trying
up
to recruit
with NC State
baseball players to Pittsburgh?
That's got to be like a impossible task.
Half of your season is just misery. I mean, can you imagine playing an outdoor baseball game in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the end of February?
No, we went to a Braves Pirates doubleheader one time in Pittsburgh. Me and my dad, and the day that they played, I want to say it was probably mid-May, So you would think, starting to get a little nice, It was miserable.
Yeah.
It was like 38 degrees, like a misting rain. It was brutal, man. Like I said, mid-May. But like the next day, it was like bright, sunny. We took a tour of the stadium, and it was like 75.
Yeah.
But that one day we sat out there,
still capable of getting really cold. I mean, if they get that lake effect wind and stuff too, it can be.
It was not good. So there's where we stand in the ACC. Like I said, the Tar Heels sitting all right. Two very winnable series to close the thing out for the good guys. Over in the SEC, though, I have a feeling that your boys are not so lucky, my friend.
Well, we're going to focus on the SEC West. We've got
we'll
Arkansas.
Start in the SEC West.
We're going to focus on the SEC West. We've got Arkansas in first place. 37 wins already on the season. A nice 17-7 conference record. 40 is always the mark you look for, TanMan.
Yeah.
40-win teams are the teams you think have a shot to go out to Omaha and make noise.
Well, I heard it mentioned with Arkansas, they lost the championship game, that championship series last year in really disappointing way. And a lot of people didn't think that they would bounce back and be as strong this year, but it doesn't seem like the Razorbacks have missed a beat.
They have not. And really just a half step behind them here is Mississippi State, also at 38-10, a couple fewer conference wins at 15-9, and then following out the West in order: Ole Miss, then LSU, Texas A&M, Auburn, and Alabama, bringing up the basement with only 6 conference wins.
So they're like the next to last team in the conference.
They
right?
are,
okay.
Yeah. Up to Vanderbilt, who I think is a shoe-in for Omaha. Vanderbilt, past 5-6 years, has really been a baseball powerhouse. They're sitting at 38-9 overall. Georgia has been, to me, a little bit of a surprise. I knew they were good, but their pitching has really been outstanding. They're sitting at 16-8 in the conference, followed by
25-3 at home. So they're definitely going to be in line to be hosting come tournament time.
No question.
Good luck with that.
And you like their chance to come out of that regional. Followed by, and I sort of go through these because I think Vanderbilt, Georgia, Arkansas, Mississippi State, those are the teams that I think have, those 4 teams, come conference tournament time and come NCAA tournament time, those are the 4 teams in the SEC that are going to matter. Missouri, Tennessee, Florida, followed by Kentucky in last place there in the East.
Did they contract the team? I think you skipped one there.
I'm sorry, Tennessee in 4th place.
Well, I was actually going to mention Tennessee. What happened? Because you follow college baseball. I'm a casual college baseball fan.
I'm not following it as closely as I once did.
About this time of year, when you get into the tournament is when I start watching it a little bit more. But Tennessee is one of those teams that jumped out really hot to start off with. What happened to what's going on with the Vols that they've seemed to have cooled down a little bit?
Well, I think, and of course, let's just talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Yes, South Carolina is in last place by a long stretch in the SEC East, and I think the same thing happened to Tennessee that happened to South Carolina, except it happened to us in a way in the offseason. 2 of our starting 3 pitchers went down. Tennessee's had a starting pitcher go down. One of their best offensive players is hurt. And then, too, baseball's one of those sports, it just seems like to me that where bad makes bad happen and good makes good happen, and you guys are kind of an exception to the rule. A lot of times, you see guys, baseball teams, the college baseball season is fairly short. When you really think about it, all the Wednesday games, it goes by quick. And those weekend series, once you hit SEC and ACC play, within a couple of months, the season's really wrapping up. I think they won some close games that they probably had some balls drop here and there. And that's the thing about it. Not to make too light of it, but South Carolina has been awful. But I think I went back and counted of their 19 conference losses. I think 10 of them have been by 1 run. there's lots of that. Now, again, I don't want to make light of or make it sound like that's better than, because in football a lot of times we'll say it's a seven-point game. It was one score. Yeah, but sometimes those 7 points are representative of a 16-yard or a 16-play drive.
Yeah.
Where somebody dominated, for the fourth quarter. So, yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, losing consistently by one run doesn't mean that you're actually a good team. It means you're terrible at winning when it counts. But one wonders whether or not they're closer. As for Tennessee,
I just think
they're one of those teams that
they started off so high. And
I would have to go back and look at their schedule, but I wonder if a lot of those early wins were against A&M and Auburn and Alabama and Kentucky, and then later on in the schedule they got into the meat of that SEC play. Because look, we've had teams be really competitive in years past that were 32-game winners in the SEC. I mean, as quote good as the SEC is in football, I think they're that much tougher in baseball. I think baseball, not in crowd interest, but in terms of difficulty, I think men's baseball is the SEC's toughest sport. It's where we are the most consistently dominant across the country.
Yeah, no, I think
you can't look at these two leagues and say it's all Vanderbilt and everybody else sucks. No, I mean that's not the case in baseball.
No, I think it's fair to say. Like I said, you look at the host that they're talking about for hosting the regionals next week. 16 hosts, probably a fourth or more of them is going to be from the SEC. The ACC is going to get a couple, and it seems like the West Coast always gets one or two. So no doubt the SEC is the king of the castle of
West
college
Coast baseball has made a bit of a comeback this year. For past few years, really, that it's been hard to find Pacific Coast teams that really deserved anything. But the Pac 11.5 has
Pac 17.
The Pac, they've got some pretty decent teams out there this year. Obviously UCLA and that UCLA, in a weird kind of way, they've become a baseball school.
Well, they're certainly not a basketball school anymore. So they have to do something.
Have they called you, by the way? I think aren't they still looking for a coach?
No, they hired Mick Cronin.
I thought he had already
from
quit.
Cincinnati.
I thought he quit.
Right, they probably get ready to fire him too. But you just mentioned the Bruins. I've got the tournament projections because if there's one thing that I love in sports,
it's brackets, baby.
It's brackets. It's tournament projections. Trust me, I'm already following Joe Lenardi's bracketology for next tournament season. It's already on my favorites browser. But in the baseball side, D1 Baseball and Baseball America seem to be the leaders in that field. I've got the D1 Baseball field up. This is as of May 1st, so almost a week old. But the latest one they've got UCLA as the top seed, matched up with West Virginia. Vanderbilt, we just talked about the Commodores in the SEC. They are the 2 seed matched up with the 15 seed Miami. And then in that one, you come on down. North Carolina checks in as the 14th overall seed. That would have them heading, if the bracket's held, over to Fayetteville, Arkansas. We'll find the Clemson Tigers down here. We're going to keep scrolling, and here we go. Clemson as the 3 seed sitting in East Carolina. In their region, it would have Clemson matching up with Auburn along with East Carolina and Campbell. So the Tigers set to be on the road as a 3 seed, which tells me that according to D1 Baseball, the Tigers are nowhere near playing themselves into hosting a regional.
No, I wouldn't think so. I don't think there's enough baseball left. Tigers off to a great start, and then just something went wrong. And like I said,
they lose like 13 or 15 or something like that.
They lost a long streak, and were losing series obviously in that stretch too, which kills you in league play. Baseball America is similar to that. UCLA also the overall 1 seed. Vanderbilt, the 2 seed, Arkansas, the 3 seed. They've got Louisville at 4, Mississippi State at 5, Georgia at 6, and they have Clemson playing in that Athens, Georgia regional with Michigan and Jacksonville State paired up with the Georgia Bulldogs. Mm-hmm. And you guys over hosting a regional, but the 15 seed. So according to Baseball America, which is known to be a little bit ACC friendly, you guys are going to need some folks to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to need some home regionals to go down. So, because you don't want to be heading to Athens for that thing if you're a Tar Heel.
Well, where do they have us matching up at?
They've got
you guys going to Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah, you would be going to Vanderbilt according to this, and again,
of course, in a region with Ole Miss and UConn, who has seemed like they've kind of quietly put together a pretty nice baseball program up there.
No, they definitely have, and I still like you guys to come out of that. I don't see any of these schools beating you twice in your home stadium. But yeah, matching up with Vanderbilt, man, I'm telling you, if you go to Omaha that way, you've earned it.
Yeah.
You've earned it.
Well, we'll see. One team that we did not discuss in the tournament projections, mainly because they are last in the SEC BG, the Gamecocks. You touched on...
The last time we talked about it, did I not say, this was a month ago the last time we talked college baseball,
yeah.
I said the time had already passed that we needed to be focused on developing players, throwing guys out there on a Wednesday night to see if they can be a starting pitcher.
Yeah. You did.
I got some flack for that, but, and I don't like to be right about things like that, but...
Well, here's my question to you. As a South Carolina baseball fan, all right, you see the numbers, you see the records, you can go back and pull them up, and I've done that and was shocked at actually how bad this season has gone. Historically bad. The worst run they've had since they joined the SEC at, 92? This is going to be minus a terrific last month of the season. If you remember, it seemed like you guys were headed towards not heading to the tournament last year.
Right. But it wasn't here.
It wasn't this.
We were playing 500
it was,
baseball.
You were okay. And then
we were in fourth place in the East
then you
at this
got,
point
what,
in the season,
I know you got a series win against Texas A&M.
Yes.
It was somebody at Vanderbilt maybe. You won a couple big series over some ranked teams last year. Got hot that last month. Got in, of course, the rest is history. But absent those last couple weeks last year, you're looking at 3 straight years of mediocre baseball down in South Carolina. This one historically bad. My question to you, should the seat be getting hot from Mark Kingston?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is
absolutely.
Bad,
and I mean, and here's the thing. I don't even want to argue about whether it's his fault.
It doesn't matter if it's his fault.
That's my point.
He's the coach.
That's my point. Now, I probably would let him have one more season. But I would need... I would say the goal for next year would have to be win a regional. I don't... At some point, if you're going to be what South Carolina baseball was, you cannot tolerate this. And it seems like every couple of weeks I see someone else tweet out, this is another first time. The first time Carolina's ever been swept 2 weekends in a row since joining the SEC. The first time they were outscored this weekend at some just ridiculous clip. I can't even remember what the numbers were, but I'm wanting to say Vanderbilt scored almost 40 runs.
And didn't they play 2 7-inning games?
Yes. And I'm just saying, so and I get that they're young, and I get that they've had a lot of injuries, and I get all that stuff. But, it's like Phil Kornblut had Ray Tanner on the radio last week. And Tanner's just spouting all this stuff out, and Kornblut comes back. Well, what happened to win anyway, Ray? Wasn't that your motto? Mm-hmm. And you wonder if Tanner's defending this guy because he believes it or because he hired him. Because the baseball program at South Carolina is something Ray Tanner does own. He did not, quote unquote, hire Holbrook, but he was put in charge of that hire. He was the one who put him through.
Holbrook was his guy.
And then this guy too. And again, I think you could get into a whole long conversation about what's going on in Columbia, about the emphasis on metrics. And I don't know if you've looked at the recruiting guys coming in, but I don't want to hear any of this. Let's let him get his guys. And this is baseball.
Yeah. No,
the offense has been awful.
Listen,
and so there is no his guy approach. Now, here's the thing. If what they mean by that are guys who are just power hitters, because Kingston seems to be all about the home run. And keep in mind, man, I was really high on this guy going into this season. I like the way he carried himself, and I still think he does. I still think that there's a very good chance that if you gave him 4 more seasons, that everything would be fine. But I am not willing to sit around and find out. This is what's going on down there. Is, like you said, it's historically bad. And at the very least, you have to look at that staff. And I would say the same thing for Monty Lee and Clemson. I do not think Monty Lee can leave that staff pat right now. If they don't make it to Omaha this year, whether it's a 3 seed, 4 seed, whatever, if they don't make it to Omaha, I think Radakovich
unlikely.
Yes, I think Radakovich, and I'm not trying to change the subject because what else can I say? I mean, I don't even think that if I found out Mark Kingston was fired when this show gets off the air, I'd be like, well, all right. I mean, I would not be angry because, you know, it's sort of like what we talked about. Well, it's like what we talked about with Jake Bentley coming back. You know, where are you on this? You know, you're playing the toughest schedule in the league. You're bringing back your senior quarterback. If you don't think he's going to win, then start somebody else and find out. But like Monty Lee, he's in season 4?
I think he came a year, 2 years before.
Massive underachievement. Okay, and again, it depends on what you want to be at Clemson. What is your vision of Clemson baseball? In my opinion, it's the second most successful sport in the history of that school.
I don't think you can have much argument.
I don't think
there.
If I'm Dan Radakovich, I'm going to go to him and say, I need to see some changes on this staff. I need something to get shaken up. I don't know who needs to go. That's your call because, homie, your butt's on the line after this. So if you don't make the right call, then when I come back, it's going to be for you. And, I mean...
Back to Kingston. You touched on his guys. To me, you're talking baseball. There is no his guys.
I don't get that either.
Look, hitting, pitching, throwing, fielding, it's all the same, right? The mound is still the same distance away. The bases are still 90 feet apart. It's all the same. If you can play, you can play. If you can't, you can't, right? So, no, I think Kingston will wind up getting another year.
No, I do too.
I think he'll wind up getting another year.
Because, again, when I heard Tanner on the radio, it was lists of excuses. I mean, he did not throw the guy under the bus. He didn't say something neutral like, well, we'll see how it is in the off. No. Look, he stood up for him.
You know, when you lose, basically, your starting pitchers, I get it. Now, there's not a lot of excuse for this. I mean, this is off the charts, bottom out bad. There's nowhere to go but up. Next year, you can't be worse than this, right? You haven't won a conference series.
No, that's why I said you have to set a goal win a regional. So it can't be play better.
No, they can't possibly be worse. You've been bit by the injury bug horribly this year, so surely that pendulum is going to swing back the other way. Give him another year. See what he does when guys are halfway healthy. If you have another season where basically everybody's arms have fallen off in Columbia, then I think you need to start looking at not only him, but start looking at your strength and conditioning. How are you working these guys? The workload you're giving some of them. Everything at that point would be on the table. I want to bring this up to you, something that I think should be on the table. What about Ray Tanner coming back? Moving on from Kingston, because you said it. This baseball program, this is his baby. He cultivated anything, and the image that you have in your head of South Carolina baseball being at the top of the SEC, mentioned with the Vanderbilts and right now the Arkansas and the Georgias. It's all because of him. And how much longer is he going to sit up in his ivory tower and watch the town crumble beneath his feet before he steps in and goes, okay, everybody stop it. I'll do it myself.
Well, the problem I have with that is the Joe Gibbs argument. Okay, so when Joe Gibbs came back to Washington, I mean, things did get better.
But football and baseball, we just talked two very different things.
But what's the same? Man, you don't catch lightning in a bottle twice. I think it would be better. I do not think it would be what it was before.
Well,
Ray's pushing 70 years old, man.
He just turned 61.
That's pushing 70.
It's not pushing 70. He just turned 61.
He is in the decade before 70.
Yeah, you look down in Tallahassee, and Mike Martin's got 2,000 wins, and he's almost 80 years old.
Listen,
Ray Tanner could come back and coach for another 10 years.
If you expect me to support him to come back, he's going to have to unblock me on Twitter. Okay, I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I will not support Ray Tanner as being my head baseball coach as long as he's going to behave the way he does on social media.
So Ray Tanner comes out today and says, that's it. This has been a horrible showing. This is not who we're about. We're firing Mark Kingston. I'm going to come back. I'm going to be the head baseball coach.
Well, in all seriousness, I actually would like that because we might get an AD that knows what he's doing at that point.
I let him double up with the AD.
Oh, my God. Is he going to play center field, too?
He might.
Yeah.
He might.
Yeah.
If Jake Bentley goes down, he might take the snaps for that, too.
I'm just going to put some devil's jelly on my lips.
I think that would be fantastic. But no, seriously.
I know.
Do you think that's a possibility?
The word possibility sounds great. I think it's incredibly unlikely.
See, I don't think it's that unlikely.
Because,
like I said, to me, football and basketball, they're different. I think you can, if you get away from them.
Wouldn't that be Ray Tanner saying, but the baseball matters to me, but the whole athletic program?
No.
He can't. I mean.
No, like I said, to me, you see, guys, we talk about Bill. Every time there was a job opening for 10 years, Bill Cowher's name got thrown out there, right?
Right.
And every time he said no, and at some point you have to go, okay, look, the game, and we'll see it with John Gruden this year with the Raiders, whether or not the game has kind of changed too much from the last time you were involved in it. With baseball, I don't think so. I think Ray Tanner could go and be gone for 5 years or 6 years, whatever it's been, and he could come back and give him time to build the thing. But I think he could be just as successful as he was before. Now, are you going to win back-to-back national titles? I don't know. So that's a lot, but I think you could easily go back to winning 40 games a year and going to Omaha every 2 or 3 years.
In other words, Mac Brown.
Yeah.
Except
we'll see.
Mac
we're going to see that
AD. But see, I always got the impression, and then the fact that he basically demanded the job of them. I think Ray wanted to be an AD. I think there were. I don't.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that you don't see with the administration stuff that he's kind of gotten involved in. He's made some bad hires, and a fan base that would have built a statue of him 5 years ago down in Columbia, just like you, they have gotten really critical of him.
You're not and rightfully so.
I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm saying maybe he's like, okay, this is not what I thought it would be.
You know what? It's never entered my mind. You always do a great job of convincing me of stuff that ends up not happening. So,
like what? Like Alabama beating Clemson in the...
Oh, you said nothing to worry about, man. Nothing to worry about. Off the air. Pat me on the back, man. Settle down. It's going to be okay. They're going to beat the brakes off. Yeah. All right. I remember about the middle of the football season last year. Yeah, this Clemson thing's not going to last forever. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm worried about beating y'all sorry butts in Charlotte to start the season, which I'm not sure we're going to do. But anyway,
I don't know. We'll see. We've got a few months to.
North
prepare.
Carolina's definitely winning the off season. I'll put it that way.
Hey. You're the college recruiting guru. I've always said, get them on campus and coach them up. Have you seen the Mac Brown Carolina recruiting class? It has jumped.
Here's the thing.
Tenfold.
Just to get off topic for a second. It's early. He's going to have to win some games. I mean, that's how it is, man. That looks great, and it's great for you guys. But to hold on to those guys, you're going to have to go 6-6. You're going to have to show them something.
Oh no,
we'll see where it goes.
You got to give them something. You
we'll see where it
goes.
Go
4-8 next year.
We'll see where it goes.
Over on the Major League Baseball side, the Atlanta Braves, hovering around the 500. I think they got above the 500 mark this week. Thank goodness for the Miami Marlins.
I mean, can we just stop for a second, like on that?
What?
Something needs to be done about that.
About what?
About the Marlins.
What are you going to do?
I don't know, but if I'm in the NL Central or the NL West, I'm coming to the commissioner and being like, "What is this crap?"
I mean, what?
They've got 9 wins.
I saw I saw the attendance numbers for one of the Braves games that were down there this weekend. 7,100 fans.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Dan Le Batard, I don't know how much of him you get to listen to. Like,
I'm always at work.
Like, that show is pure hilarity, like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
If they get on the Miami Marlins, like, he gets dead serious, man. He is on, like, he has a hatred for that organization.
Well,
and that front office.
It goes back 30 years, man.
Man, he is.
Go all the way back to Wayne Huizenga basically buying 2 World Series titles, auctioning the teams off.
And don't get him started on the way the Marlins went about this new stadium.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he goes off. But the Marlins are what saved Atlanta. I think they had lost 10 of 16 coming into that series, but they get right. They go down and sweep the Marlins, and now things get real. They head out to L.A. to take on the Dodgers.
Yeah, they're gonna get.
They got the Diamondbacks. They've got 2 series with the Cardinals coming up. So probably the next month or so of the season, we're gonna find out whether the Braves are for real or not.
I think by the end of May, this team's probably going to be sitting at about 10 games under 500. I really do.
Wow.
I think this team. I think this team's bullpen issues, and that is the only issue they have.
Yeah.
I think it is so serious that it's going to cost them 2 out of every 3 close games they play in. And while everybody wants to give their offense kudos, they've got some guys that are putting numbers up. And we talked about Dansby Swanson in the offseason. Dansby's having exactly the year you wished he would have.
Yeah.
Batting just under 700. He's driven in 25 runs. Josh Donaldson's been a huge addition to this lineup. Okay, and that's all great. Good for you, Liberty Media. You brought in Donaldson, okay, because we talked about last year. Third base was the problem.
Well, and turns out, if you've seen the Austin Riley down in the minor leagues, you may not really need a Donaldson because that kid looks major league ready.
And I mean, then if that's they block out the crowd sound of the chants. I mean, at some point, whether it's Craig Kimbrell, and Bill Shanks has said it 100 times, Craig Kimbrell's not going to solve this. This is probably a 4-arm problem.
Well, the problem is
you need 2 left-handers, you need 2 right-handers, you need middle relief.
It's the middle of May, and those guys aren't there.
Yeah, and so
you're a month and a half, 2 months away from being able to get some of these guys. In 2 months, if this problem keeps up, there's not going to be a reason
like I said, man, I do not see them.
The bullpen.
I do not. And they've just been lucky. Because all this booing that's going on with Bryce Harper, let it hit June, folks. Let it get to 90 degrees in Philadelphia and see what his bat does.
Let him.
Okay, he's going to go on a tear at some point. If you're an Atlanta fan like both of us are, and you keep waiting on the Mets and the Phillies to keep playing 500 baseball, you have fun with that. Because it's not going to last. The Braves have gotten extremely lucky in that no one in that division seems to want it right now. But that is not going to stay. Some of those teams are going to get traction under them. And, I mean, now I don't know enough about the Braves farm system to know if there are some guys that could be middle relievers that they can bring up. I just don't know. But, I mean, for all that's good and holy, if there are any, why haven't they done it already? I mean,
that's a good question.
They've lost at least 10 games that I've watched that they were leading in the 7th inning, in the 8th inning, and they just blow lead after lead after lead. It's just the same thing over and over, and you literally watch it happen. And Twitter is full of what memes of here we go. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. And this fan base, I mean, you're not giving them much hope here that you're combating this narrative that Liberty Media wants to be competitive, but that's all they want to be. Just enough to sell tickets. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say that you're not wrong when you look at how they've gone about constructing the team and spending their money and where they've spent it at. A couple bright spots for Atlanta is their starting pitching, but if you take out Max Fried and Soroka, Julio Teheran. I mean, I feel like I've been the Julio Teheran guy taking up for him back. But he's just, he's sitting here right now with an ERA knocking on the door to 5. Basically barely being a fifth starter, which means he's basically barely being a major league starting pitcher right now.
Right.
Foltynewicz just starting to come back from some of the injuries he's had. He's lost a tick on his velocity. His strikeout to inning ratio is down from what it has been before. So with the starting pitching, that was supposed to be the strong point coming into the season.
Okay, so
minus these two guys, I just don't think even the starting rotation has lived up to expectations.
We're in today's Major League Baseball, man. The days of complete games and going into the 7th and 8th is over.
That's over, and that's what makes this so
frustrating.
So frustrating when okay, we're only gonna pitch these guys
Even
so much. Then if you know you're going to put a cap on what you're going to ask your starting pitchers to do, then the first thing you should do is, how do we get from point A to point C? And they completely skipped over B, which is
middle relief. Well, here's my thing. Can we go to a 6 or 7 man rotation and just leave them out there until the game's over? I mean, I'm not even being funny, man.
No, seriously, who did that a couple years ago?
Somebody. I remember we talked about it.
Was it Tampa? Or was Tampa the one that starting the bullpen to start games?
I don't remember.
Anyway, so I know somebody did the 6-man rotation.
Because I keep hearing about other starting arms that they've gotten, Gwinnett, that could come up, but they're not middle relievers. Here's another question. Like, Paul Bird's on the sidelines. How old is he? Put a hat on him, man.
Man, Paul Bird stunk whenever he was there.
Paul Bird was a great sixth inning with 2 outs pitcher.
He stunk.
He could get 2 strikes before he sat back down.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they're out in L.A., and then they will head to Arizona. An awesome stadium, by the way. Man, I went there one time. Toured the stadium. Oh, yeah.
Visiting relatives?
No, I was out there for some work business, for some training.
Southwest?
Yeah, for some business work, some training. I snuck away from the training and went and toured the Diamondback Stadium one afternoon. Very cool.
I bet people saw you sneaking away.
Probably, but
I don't think you're that stealthy.
I don't care.
Especially in the desert.
I was just say that was like almost 15 years ago, so I don't think I could get in trouble for it now. But like I said, they're at Arizona, St. Louis, Milwaukee. Get a little reprieve with a 4-game set with the Giants. The Giants are going through their own struggles, I guess you'd say. And then the Cardinals, and then 2 with Washington to close out May. BG, like we said, this is to me, this is an important stretch for Atlanta.
They've got to go out there and hold their own. I mean, because
once you get
could really get
once you get out of this though. Once you get out of this month, you start off in June. You got the Tigers. You got another series with Miami. You got 7 with Pittsburgh before you start getting back into some NL East games toward the middle and end of June. I think like I said, the next couple weeks through the end of May. Listen, you've got to put your work in now. You've got to put the hay in the barn now because it's not going to get easier from here on out.
How about Johnny Venters? What's he doing? Can he come back?
I think at this point, like we said with, it's
been 9 years, but
I said with Ray Tanner and Mark Kingston, I would put everything on the table.
Everything
on the if John Rocker is available, and you think that he could be better than what you have, then you need to go out and sign.
If John Rocker is not incarcerated, then you should go.
Sign him.
And if he is incarcerated, bail him out and then sign him.
Yes.
I mean, because it really is like
John Rocker's amazing, man. I don't care what anybody says.
If I turn a Braves game on and they're winning in the 6th inning and it's 3-2, I just go to bed. I don't watch it. I don't want to see.
Don't put yourself through that misery.
I don't want to see what's going to happen.
All right, episode 115 in the books. We hope you enjoyed our baseball talk on this afternoon. Reminder, you can follow us at The Border War. There you'll find both of our Twitter handles as well. We're on Facebook. You can like and share our post on Facebook as well. And however you subscribe to or however you listen to the show, like it, subscribe it. If you can leave a review, tell us how we're doing. We're trying to save you from the crappy local sports talk radio. At least here in the upstate. So again, episode 115 in the book. Stick around. Episode 116 is coming up. We'll be talking the NBA playoffs. Some interesting series that you might not really have been paying attention to coming in. So stay tuned.
Tell you, man, the national scene isn't all that great right now either. I drive to work this morning. Bad radio. Just bad radio. We can do that for free.
Does it grind your gears?
It does.